Here's the third interview with my mother, Cyrla Goldsheider, the Jewish Bundist from Warsaw. And I think this is around 1996. Let's begin now.
Plus.
So we're speaking Yiddish now, and so my mother was saying, it's a telephone.
Okay. De heet Jens, wie staat eraan?
Ja.
Okay, Hand is the.
So I said to her, it's difficult to translate Yiddish sometimes. But I'm giving a date here.
24th in July 1996.
1996, the 24th of July.
Okay, mijn nacht een interview.
Okay, and now we're going to start the interview.
If die meinst die Geist haben, die meinst die Geist.
I'm saying in Yiddish, if you thought that you were going to die,
Haben, ja?
Allgemein,
Okay.
so she said, yes, I thought that I was going to die, that I didn't have the strength.
But in 5 Jahren Geist sterben, ja? Hebben ze zo.
But in about 5 years, you're going to be dying. Something like that.
10 Jahre?
Bin ich leben wie das Leben, bin es halt gestorben, aber ich bin das Weizfeld.
So she was saying, 10 years, but she's saying that she doesn't like living like this, because she's in pain.
So, wie oft hat die gerochen?
Einmal hat sie gegessen, die Schwierigkeit.
And she said that after eating it was a difficult time.
Ja, aber die Geist noch leben ein bisschen Zeit, ja? So that.
So then I said to her, but you're going to be living for quite a while, no? Aren't you?
Die etwas mit dir. Die meisten, die andere Menschen hatten Schmerzen auch.
So I said, but, to have pains, is not that important. I mean, everybody has pains, don't they?
Und sie leben noch. Und mit dem Leben darf man tun etwas.
And then I said, but, we keep on living, and when we live, we have to do something with our lives.
Ja.
She says, yeah.
Hey, was, du bist gut nicht hier mit dem Leben?
What, you don't want to do anything with your life?
Ich habe gestrickt ein bisschen.
Just saying, I went to a workshop and I knitted a little bit. She actually knitted me a blanket. Yeah, I still have it.
Dit knick. Okay, good. Okay, maar ich will reden von dem Dit noch. Wie war.
Yes, and then I was saying that I want to talk, and she was talking about, the various workshop techniques, that she had begun.
Menschen, die hatten gelebt, die sind gewinn gehagelt von Hitler.
Now we're going to talk about, the people who were killed by Hitler.
Und andere weiß nicht die Menschen.
And others don't know who these people are.
Die Menschen sind du in deinem Kopf.
These people's memory is in your head.
Und kein anderer weiß nicht, wer die Menschen sind gewesen.
And nobody else knows who these people were.
Ich darf wissen, Seli darf wissen, wer.
I need to know. My son Seli wants to know.
Wenn die Menschen, da schon gegeben, die Nummer von den Menschen, wie sie hatten gewohnt, was sie hatten gearbeitet.
The names of the people, where they lived, what work they did. And we continue now. This is working.
Aber ich will jetzt wissen, wieso die Menschen sind gewesen? Wieso hat mich gerettet?
What I want to know is how these people were, what they were like, what they said,
Wie schein sie sind gewesen?
how beautiful they were,
Was gewesen sehr flüssig?
what was their politics,
Was hat gedenkt?
what they were thinking, what they thought.
Wer ist gewesen die Menschen?
Who were these people?
Okay. Wer ist gewesen Maya Goldsheider? Ich will wissen, Maya Goldsheider. Er ist der
I want to know about Meyer Goldscheider.
wichtige Mensch, was ich
Meine
will wissen.
Goldscheider,
He was a worthwhile person.
das ist a cousin.
Nein, die ist gesagt, es ist seine Brüder, deine
And she was saying, "Oh, yes, my cousin." I said, "No, I mean Meyer, your brother."
Brüder.
Meine Goldscheider, ja.
Oh, yes, Meyer Goldscheider. Oh, yes.
Ja, ja, no.
Yes, yes.
Is it a syndical?
Ja, er.
Ja, das ist meine Goldscheider, ja.
Ja. Hij
Yeah, this is Meyer Goldscheider. Yeah.
had geen weg te ratten.
He gave you a way to save yourself.
Hij had geen de wegen rausgegaan in Polen, ja?
He gave you the directions on how to escape from Poland, didn't he?
Ja, en
Oké, ja goed.
Yes, yes.
Wissen van hem.
Yes, I want to know about him.
Verstehst du?
ja.
Oké.
Do you understand? She says yes.
Wie is had geen wegen rausgegaan? Dat geschickt hem het zelfs gehad de mes.
How did he tell you how to get out of Poland? Did he send you a messenger?
Dit was geen zijn adres.
Ja, brief van ja.
Wie is geschreven? Jiddisch?
So how did he pass you the messages? Were they in Yiddish? And she was saying, I can't remember.
Oké.
And she says, yeah, yeah.
Was had geschreven nog dus?
Geschrieben,
And he wrote that you should know
als de week van de dan heet Amzahar, ja.
that you have to get out of Warsaw because Hitler is coming to kill you.
En dus is hij ja wichtig.
You have to think about this, and it's very important. There's a lot of people who are leaving, getting out,
Zet ich mal gesagt, ihn.
Mhm.
and you shouldn't wait very long.
Oké. En wie had gezegd is gewenen? Wie is had hij gezegd die kan ze rausgaan?
And how did he tell you to get out? You know, what did he say to give you directions on how to get out?
Voor met de samen Hawaii en Masvaiba hier.
Die was geen
He said, with some of your friends, 2 or 3, you know, you go together.
ganz alleine met de 2 andere, 3 andere.
Ja,
So you should leave with 2 or 3 others? And she says, yes.
Aha.
ja.
Je bent niet gegaan alleen?
You didn't go by yourself?
Nee, dit is gegaan met die andere.
No, you went with the others, huh?
Ah.
Yeah, with others, yes.
Wij zijn gegaan.
Ik heb gezegd, ze tijden en zo. Hawaii, ze tijden verschillende.
Ja. En die zijn gegaan.
Lawyer, others.
De
Ik reed is met geen neighborhood. Ik heb een paar zo op haar boeken, you know. Met tweeën.
ja.
Het is uitgebreid gehad. Het is al gegaan met het zo wichtig dat er is op die vier.
Difficult to translate. But they went along the ways and they drove or went with a train or something like that?
Sonra koymuşum.
Bus hat abgestellt.
Anlıyor da das Investor see
Ja.
a poch here.
Covered.
Yeah.
Oh, they were driven by a Polish driver in a car, and they were covered in a blanket or something like that.
Ja. En bus is wichtig, dat je verstaat niet.
And I'm saying, what is important about this? I don't understand.
Not following.
Oh, het is geen gane zaak.
Saying I went with friends, and I had a baggage, that was packed away.
Ja. So, die beginnen met twee, drie anderen. En wenn es gekommen der Zeit, ich
Ja.
in Russland dort.
So you went with two or three others, and then you made your way, to cross over the frontier into Russia, yes? And she says yes. Just like that,
Maar wie is eerst gegaan? Dat is gewoon in de Wald.
And I asked, so how did you go? Like, what way did you go? And I said, did you go through a forest? And she says, yeah.
It's a feast. Met alleen of met een ander?
And I said, by foot and by yourself or with others?
Gegangen, kaşırak das Zeit.
Nicht ganz.
Auch gegangen noch zwei Schwester heißt.
And she said that she went with others, yes, and with her sister one time. Actually, she came back to the Warsaw Ghetto and went out again, escaped again, with her younger sister, Chava.
Nein, das wenn die Zeit, die bist zurückgekommen, das genannt die Schwester zurück mit dir. In der ersten Mal,
Yes, so the second time you came back and you went out again with your sister, yes?
mit wem hast du gegangen?
Mit meinem Bruder Meier.
And the first time, with whom did you go out? And she replies, with my brother Meyer.
Sonnenheim.
Mit sehr Freund. Ja,
Ja.
wer sind gewesen die
And I went out with my brother Meyer with his friends. And so I asked, who are these friends?
Freund? Was the Nummer?
And she said that they were, workers. And I said, what were their names?
Okay.
And she said, that I don't remember.
Wer sind sie gewesen? Sind sie gewesen politische?
So I said, and what were they? Were they politicals? She said, not so much,
Sind sie gewesen Bundisten?
I asked, were they Bundists? Jewish Bundists, Jewish Bundist movement was the Jewish anti-fascist movement, socialist movement that was anti-Zionist as well. They were, dedicated to fighting against fascism in their countries of residence, in their Dorkite, not running away and not giving up on defeating fascism.
Sure. Is that this one?
Kunnen we nou mensen?
Yeah.
Ja.
So she said, maybe they were Bundists, but they were ordinary people, like that time, the whole working class, was Jewish Bundist, so, everybody just assumed, and it wasn't something, a matter of distinction, it was just sort of a natural, to be a socialist. It was sort of obvious, to say the least.
Taxiden sind sie nicht gewesen.
Okay. Zit zich zo in de das.
So she was moving around. So I said, like, sit yourself as you wish, get comfortable.
Macht schrik. Ja.
So I said, sit back.
Sorry.
That way, yes.
Okay. Ja, this is best.
Yes, that's better.
Okay. En Maya, wusse arbeitet in Poland? Is it?
And Meyer, your brother, what work did he do in Poland?
Ben gelernte?
Was he an educated person?
Had hij gestudeerd?
What did he study?
je weet naar Cyrla.
Oh, he was a tailor.
Zie ze je handboek, bijvoorbeeld. De nu gaan ze gewoon.
Precies.
He worked on clothing. Schoege means clothing.
In a store?
Ja, het grootste store.
He worked in a big store.
Is het gemeenzame store?
Nice.
Was it his store?
Ik denk dat de hoofd dat nou was steken. En de nu gaan we
No, he just worked in a big store. He gave things out.
bij onze netwerk. Zilver en golden. Also,
Aha.
ja.
Het is gemacht oder het is verkauft?
Wat gearbeitet na.
Oh, het is gemacht.
So I said, what was he working at? Did he make clothing or did he sell clothing? And she said, oh, he worked in a factory.
Ja.
Oh.
I said, yes, he made clothing.
Het is gewoon in de union. Het is gewoon in de arbeidersorganisatie.
Zo.
So he was in a union? He was in a workers' organization?
Aha. En was had ik gered? Was politics had ik gehad? Was had ik gezegd?
Hoi.
So I said, what would he talk about? What kind of politics did he have?
Ich hatte sie, das hat man dann entschieden.
Ja.
Saturday, he went to the shul as well,
Is hij gegaan zu de meetingen? Had hij gemacht meetingen?
So I asked, did he go to any meetings? Did he make any meetings?
Is hij gegaan zu meetingen?
Did he go out to meetings?
Nicht besser.
Not a lot.
Ist das gegangen? Zu Theater, zu
He went out to the theater.
Opera, zu
It's on a girl.
He went to different things. So this was, typical, like Jewish Bundist member, not, somebody who's very involved in the apparatus, regular working class member of the Jewish Bund. Okay.
Friends?
Ja, eins, wenn das Son, she's got a voice.
Zingen?
I think
Yes, but he went out with his friends. One of them was a singer. He had a voice.
Ja, was de gemeente noemen?
Sarah,
What was their name?
Sarah,
Sarah was.
Sarah was her name, a singer.
no music and not fire.
Ja.
She sang in a choir.
Was de gemeente een laatste noemen?
What was her last name?
Sarah, eine fire.
So I can't remember her family name.
Ja.
Thing.
Nee,
Zijn nog eens een beetje, sie eigentlich gewesen waren, sie werden so verbieten, und wenn es erscheint, also die chemische Führung auf ein Menschenwort, aber weiße Führung, die schon gewirkt war, ist die chemische Führung, also diese Koppenbahn, Mann in Magnetikos.
Starting to get into a sort of diversion of story of somebody came riding up and somebody who had been divorced or something like that.
这个反映出这个这个是学一个慢慢来那不一个这个是所以因为我拿到多是个很多多
dacht wat de Grenets? Was de Grenets?
Grenets is
The frontier?
Yeah.
The border? Is hij toen de Rusland?
yeah so
I was trying to make out, what she was talking about. She was saying that they would go to a Granitz. I think a Granitz is actually a bakery, or a mill, where flour is made. So perhaps she's referring to another friend, who was working in such a milling operation.
En Maya, en welke politics had hij gered? Hij had gehad Freund, was er een communisten?
So Meyer, what kind of politics did he have, and what kind of friends did he have? Did he have any communist friends?
Bisschen.
Ein bisschen.
A little.
Ja, aber was ist er nicht gedenken Kommunist? Hat nicht geglaubt, das stalinistische Politik?
And why wasn't he a communist? Did he not like the Stalinist politics?
Nein.
No.
Ja. Ah.
Was er aangesetzt ist,
Ja.
Ja.
He was referring to one of his friends, who was a good communist, and he was imprisoned.
Anders så det var heller
The trial?
the business, the libraries, the lawyers.
Ja, trial. Ja. Dus is het Session, deine Schwester?
Nein, mijn Schwester begrijpen.
So she's saying that the lawyers were taking care of them. And then I said, was your sister Chava or Tsesha, was she arrested? And she replied, no.
Oh ja, nog een Session.
Het had een spelen zat ook.
Now she's talking about a cousin. Yeah. Her father's brother's daughter.
Maar vroeger, je bent Johnson, Baha, zo.
Johnson's bus.
Johnson is al een keer op een buildings.
Oh ja.
She's saying that he was a foreman or the manager of a building.
En deine Brüders, Tochter is gewesen Kommunist.
Ja.
So your father's brother's daughter was a communist.
Dus gemeint is niet meer religieus?
Does that mean that she wasn't religious?
Het is niet gewesen religieus.
She wasn't religious then.
Nee.
Dan
No.
Brüder, zij gewesen religieus?
Een beetje.
And your father's brother, was he religious? And she said, yeah, a little.
En zijn Tochter is gewesen Kommunist.
Ja.
And his daughter was a communist.
Die gewist?
In dem Geschäft hier gearbeitet, ist alle mit sich gekommen. Den man vermacht, einmal.
Oh, strike.
Nein.
So she said that where I worked, she would come to visit me sometimes. And I said, are you referring to a strike? And she said, no.
Marseille en
Oh, shit. Was ik gewens die noemen?
Jail.
Aha. En was gewens die noemen?
Cyrla.
Cyrla bus.
Goldsheider.
Oh.
Cyrla Goldseider, her cousin, she's saying that she was in prison.
Cyrla.
Aha. En dus geschehen ze zie.
And so what happened to her?
Is geblaven dort?
Did she stay there? No.
Oh ja. Nog de kreeg?
So she's saying that no, she got out of the prison and then she escaped and went into Russia.
Oh, sie ist gegangen zu Russland auch.
Oh, so she went to Russia as well.
Wie wird sie gemeint noch in den Krieg?
Ze gevoel zeker.
And where did she go after the war? Where did she go to live after the war? And she replied, she went back.
Oh, ja.
Hasan Yakutsan Russland, Hasan Yakutsan
So she saved herself in Russian.
Bizim takat aynı kaldı.
Aha. Maya, had ik gered dan?
She was the only daughter. Now I'm asking about Meyer.
In Russische politiek?
Ama
Had hij al nur gered van Sachen als de Bund oder Trotsky?
So did Meyer ever talk about Russian politics or about the Bund or about Trotsky?
Hier, de hebben ze zo, Stalin.
Anything like that, you know, about Stalin?
Had ik die heb Sachen?
wat je
Oh, he talked about theater, about fascism.
But dus hadden mensen gemeint van Rusland en Stalin. So,
And what did the people think about Russia and Stalin?
gemeint dat Stalin zijn Michigan oder was?
Did they think that Stalin was a crazy guy? Or what?
Okay, man.
No, she's saying that she's tired.
Dank je wel zo. A trial.
Yeah.
Dat was gedaan, de bus hadden ze aangenomen.
Huh?
De bus
Oh,
is,
you're okay on the luggage.
ja, but bus had,
So there was a trial and there were lawyers. And I said, so what was the charge? Not sure who she's talking about, but I think she's talking about the cousin, the communist.
de bus hadden ze gemaakt, het was gedaan de charge.
As is a communist.
Dus alles.
And the charge was that she was a communist. That's it. You know, that's all.
So, ze hadden zich geraakt, ze zijn communisten.
So she didn't have a right to be a communist? No. You know, like, no.
Ze gemeent illegale politiek.
Yeah.
There was, you know, no equality in politics.
En Seschke, deine Schwester, sie ist gewesen Meeting gemacht?
And Sasha, your sister, did she go to meetings as well?
Ja.
My sister, Chava. Chava is the name.
Bissel.
Een beetje, sie ist
A little. Going to meetings, that is.
meetingen, ja. Ik denk dat ik gezegd.
Ja.
Welke meetingen is sie gewesen met?
And to which meetings did she go to?
Bundist,
Bundist?
Zionistische, Kommunistische,
Zionist? Communist?
denk ik.
Leftist?
Ja.
So she doesn't answer. Probably there's no information along those lines. And she was saying that she, you know, packed up and prepared to leave.
Wie oud is sie gewesen, wenn sie gegangen mit dir zu Russland?
And how old was your sister when you took her to Russia? And when you escaped, you know, from the Warsaw Ghetto?
Oh, ja. Ja, ich habe nicht genickt. Ich will ein bisschen mehr. Ich will ein bisschen mehr.
So she's saying that she's had enough, and I'm replying, oh, I want to know more. I want to know more.
Nein, ich kann nicht zurück. Ich gehe jetzt reden mit Morris Friedman.
So she's saying, you know, we can talk when you come back. And I was saying, not today, because I'm going to meet, Dr. Morris Friedman, the head of neurology, high school friend.
Aha. Ja. Was noch kennst du mir sagen von Maya Friedman? Welche Sorte Mensch ist er gewesen? Er ist gewesen, welch
So what more can you tell me about Meyer Goldsheider? What sort of a person was he?
Bücher hat er geleint? Noch
What books did he read?
theatische Sachen, also wie das, literarische Bücher,
Actually,
verschiedene, ja.
Verschiedene. Various books, like everything.
Aha. Okay. Wer noch ist gewesen interessant für mich zu wissen.
And who else is interesting, for me to know about?
Okay. Sorry. Nicht mehr. Okay, out.
Too tired to talk, Okay, so don't speak anymore, it's okay. Okay, that's the third tape. Okay. Lend this now and continue with the fourth. This is Dr. Abraheim Weizfeld speaking here from Montreal, Quebec on the 26th day of April in the year 2025.